What's interesting to me is that Tesla has been selling a lot of cars, right? It hasn't necessarily hit all of its metrics, but it's so fascinating to me that if this is such a big issue, that it hasn't affected it more acutely. I mean, this seems like a pretty big problem.
In this video, a very legitimate piece of reporting on the finance media whose primary advertisers are not automotive manufacturers, which is also absolutely not a hatchet job, nor a hit piece, but just a legitimate report, seems to suggest that Elon Musk has told Tesla employees to mislead the general public about how much range they'll achieve in a Tesla vehicle. It also appears that my mother has hired somebody to clean my basement windows in the middle of this video, so that's awkward, but we'll continue to roll with this. Say hello to my window cleaning friend if you see him or her swinging by. So, we're going to investigate these claims from the Yahoos on Yahoo Finance, listen to what the folks over at Reuters have to say about this supposed investigative journalism and what they've discovered, and whether or not any of this is legitimate, or yet another attempt to smear and discredit Tesla. I'm sure you guys know how this one ends. We'll also be looking at a new survey of Moron Stanley's interns, their buying preferences about automotive brands, and whether or not they're interested in buying an electric vehicle, an internal combustion engine vehicle, a hybrid, or nothing at all. And if you're as excited about seeing what I've got to say as the guy currently hanging outside my window, why not join Patreon for over 330 exclusive videos, plus access to my Tesla price targets and optional access to my valuation model. And if that's not enough, you can also subscribe over on X, formerly Twitter. There's almost 40 exclusive videos there and still counting fast. I could watch this guy all day. I mean, I really could. F the video. Let's just watch this guy do his job today. Some of the best views in Sydney out there. I'm not going to lie.
Well, Tesla reportedly created a secret team to block drivers' range complaints. In an investigative piece by Reuters, the EV giant allegedly deployed the team because its service centers were inundated with appointment requests from owners who had expected better range performance. According to the expansive article, Tesla employees had been instructed to crush any complaints about the EV maker's poor driving range. The investigation alleges the company quietly created a diversion team in Las Vegas to cancel as many range-related appointments as possible. The source cited says the directive to present rosy range projections came from Tesla chief executive Elon Musk himself.
Okay, so first things first, automotive manufacturers are not the biggest advertisers in the finance media. Well, actually they are, but even if they were, that certainly wouldn't influence any of the reporting we hear. Second, it's not like Yahoo Finance historically have been very anti-Tesla. Also, Elon Musk doesn't support the current thing, therefore the current thing is Elon bad. That's also not true. Oh wait, it is. Now, before we get any further in this very legitimate reporting, which is not a hit piece whatsoever, notice how this has been framed. In essence, Elon Musk told his staff to mislead people buying Tesla vehicles about how much range you'll get in a Tesla vehicle. This is how the story has been framed right off the bat. And I got to call bullshit here. Let's head over to the Tesla website with our brains engaged. So we're currently on the Tesla website on the Model Y splash page. Notice the key features highlighted here. 76 cubic feet of cargo space, 330 miles of range, EPA estimate, more on that in a moment. And we have the purchase price after the recent tax credit, the $7,500 federal tax credit. Now, let's click and see order now, because this is about the only way you can get more information about the supposed range on any of Tesla's vehicles. Same shit from every page, it's the same format, not doing anything tricky here. By the way, does anyone get the impression Tesla really wants US consumers to know about the $7,500 tax credit? So let's have a look. We're on the Model Y page here. Again, we see the 330 miles of range EPA estimate. By the way, folks, I'm building to a point. Stick with me. Now, if we go to the Model Y standard range, we're now at 270 miles of range. Once again, EPA estimate. Isn't that interesting? And the Model Y performance, 303 miles range, EPA estimate. You'll note that this doesn't say Tesla estimate, nor does it say absolutely guaranteed range in all circumstances. It says EPA estimate. Let's compare to some of Tesla's so-called competition. We're now on the Lucid Air website. The range that they claim available, 516 miles. I know it's tiny here. Let's zoom right in. EPA estimated range. Isn't that interesting? I'm getting the sense, I mean, we only have a couple of data points, but I'm almost getting the sense here that there's a standardized way of calculating the estimated range available for electric vehicles that isn't decided by the companies themselves, but in fact, an independent agency. But of course, 2 data points is not many. Let's see if we can find a third. How about Rivian? We're on the R1T, splash page. Zoom in once again so you guys can see up close. The quad motor variation of the R1T Rivian pickup truck has an estimated EPA range of 328 miles. And one more for good measure. Ford Mustang Mach-E. By the way, special shout out to Ford's designers here. I feel like we're in 2012 at best. So let's do a build on a Mustang Mach-E. By the way, I just have to roast Ford for a moment. Hypothetically speaking, if I do not want to provide a postcode or a zip code, I just want to see some details about this vehicle, I can't even click off this fucking give us your details bitch pop-up box. This is some 12 IQ design right here. Absolute potatoes. Now I'm going to have to find a zip code in the US because I'm not giving Ford access to my current location because I'm always playing Ford HS, so you Ford. I guess this one comes to mind. Now that I've given Ford information, let's build a Mustang Mach-E. I mean, I got to say, Ford, seriously, potato design again. I can't even find anything about range on the spec page. Do I have to click onto this? God damn, dude. This is bad. Bad design, inside and out. Can we actually just, holy dude. Unbelievable. Bro, there's no mention of the EPA. What is going on here? Do I have to click power? Like, what the dude? Ay. Are there even any specs? Review order. Bro, this is embarrassing. That was a disaster. Let's try the F-150 Lightning. I had no luck with the Mustang Mach-E. Oh, here we go. As we can see here, 240 miles of standard EPA estimated range. Isn't that curious? 4 companies, 4 products, 4 websites, all quoting EPA estimated range. I guess we ought to find out what the EPA estimated range is. It doesn't sound like Elon estimated range, does it? So you guys remember the 3 letters, EPA estimated range. We're now on EPA.gov. Fancy that. Driving range. The number of miles an EV will travel before the battery needs to be recharged is often less than the distance your gasoline car can travel before being refueled. Shout out to the unnecessary EV fund here. But typically, is still enough to accomplish the average person's daily driving needs. An electric vehicle's fuel economy is reported in terms of miles per gallon of gasoline equivalent, MPGE. Think of this as being similar to MPG, miles per gallon. But instead of presenting miles per gallon of the vehicle's fuel type, it represents the number of miles the vehicle can go using a quantity of electricity with the same energy content as a gallon of gasoline. Again, it's an equivalent. This allows you to compare an EV with a gasoline vehicle, even though electricity is not dispensed or burned in terms of gallons. I've highlighted the most important paragraph here. Note, the EPA estimates, including EV range, are meant to be a general guideline for consumers when comparing vehicles. Just like your mileage may vary for gasoline vehicles, your range will vary for EVs. In particular, factors like cold weather, accessory use such as air conditioning, and high-speed driving can lower your vehicle's range significantly. So, I know this was an extremely long-winded aside, but it's very important because the folks on Yahoo Finance have just framed this as Elon has told Tesla employees to mislead their customers about how much range their vehicles will get. Where exactly, you fucking idiots? We just saw Tesla, Lucid, Rivian, Ford, all using EPA range estimates for their vehicles, allowing consumers to use a standardized metric for comparing the potential range of their electric vehicles. These numbers are not company-generated estimates. They're EPA-generated estimates. This allows consumers to do an apples-to-apples comparison of potential range for different electric vehicles. It literally says right here, the general guidelines for consumers when comparing vehicles. That's the point of these things. So the audacity of Yahoo Finance to claim that by using EPA range estimates, which are provided by the EPA to automotive manufacturers so that consumers have a standardized way of comparing range of electric vehicles, to suggest that that is coming from Elon Musk and an attempt to mislead Tesla customers about the range of their vehicles, it's an outrageous misrepresentation of reality, also known as a gigantic fucking lie.
And Yahoo Finance has reached out to the company for comment on the article. Let's bring in the author behind the investigation. That's Steve Stecklow. He is global investigative reporter at Reuters. This definitely caught my attention when it came out late last week, Steve. Your in-depth reporting, but before you even get to the reports of range anxiety or range concerns, first, as you talked about in the article, the company, if you can't entirely trust necessarily the range that is reported by the vehicle itself. Can you talk us through that?
Again, hear how this is framed. You can't entirely trust the company, as in Tesla. You cannot entirely trust Tesla. Why? Because Tesla, like all other automotive manufacturers selling electric vehicles in the United States, is using the generalized, standardized EPA range estimate to allow customers to easily compare electric vehicles. One more time. You can't trust Tesla because Tesla is using the same method of providing customers a generalized estimate via the EPA, not their own internal estimates of vehicle range. Therefore, you can't trust them because they're using the exact same third-party standardized method that allows customers to compare range of electric vehicles. Hello? I mean, do I really need to pick this apart even further? Why is it? It's just so curious to me that this hit piece, legitimate reporting, wasn't in fact about Ford, who are also using EPA range estimates, or Rivian, who are also using EPA range estimates, or Lucid, or everyone who is also using EPA range estimates, which, spoiler alert, is literally every company in the fucking United States selling electric vehicles. It's so miraculous to me. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, why would Yahoo Finance, why would anyone in the media, whose primary advertisers certainly aren't automotive manufacturers, have it in for Tesla, who to date have possibly spent about $3 in total advertising in the mainstream media? I just can't quite put my finger on it.
Well, yes, what our reporting found was that for years, Tesla has exaggerated its range.
Again, I have to jump in here. I think what he's actually saying is the EPA has exaggerated the range of all electric vehicles it has provided EPA range estimates for. Because again, that's where these numbers are coming from. Now, I'm going to cut this one short. This is a clear hit piece. It's a hatchet job. I mean, no, it's not. It's legitimate reporting. Just so happens to be focused on Tesla, not all the other companies using the exact same fucking standardized measure of range for their electric vehicles. How curious. It doesn't deserve the airtime, but I just wanted to point this out. As we can see, the mainstream media, in particular the finance media, always treats Tesla very fairly, just like all of their major advertisers. From Morgan Stanley Research, 5th Annual Intern Survey. EVs and Tesla cool factor fade at the margin. Price target still $250 per share, until Tesla cracks 300. Moving on. Our summer intern class provides a window into the preferences of a future generation of business leaders and commercial influencers, if we don't say so ourselves. Tesla's desirability among the interns fell significantly year over year, to 14% below Mercedes at 20%. Does Tesla's brand come at the sacrifice of cool? In our 5th annual intern survey of around 575 Morgan Stanley North American summer interns, tastes and preferences in autos are evolving in some surprising ways. This marks the first year of the survey where Tesla is not the most desirable car brand. Tesla's desirability as a share of total intern preferences declined to 14% from 19% last year, versus over 30% in each of the 3 prior years. That is, 2023 marks the first year that intern preferences for Tesla fell below number 1 in the history of the intern survey. By the way, I'm pretty confident there is a direct correlation between Morgan Stanley summer intern preferences for desirability of automotive products and the average selling price. Why? It's all about status signaling. Tesla continues to decline in car desirability among interns to 14% versus 19% last year and 30% in 2021, as Mercedes gained share to surpass Tesla as the most desirable auto brand. 20% versus 17% last year. Our intern preferences largely align with our views. We believe Tesla's ubiquity will continue as the company drives down price and pushes volume. They are absolutely right. Competing to be the next Toyota rather than the next Mercedes again, they've hit the nail on the fucking head. I absolutely agree. Having said that, we'll take the over on 14% market share of actual EV purchases by our intern class. Preference to buy an electric vehicle declined materially year over year to 22% versus 30% in 2022. Slightly below our 2030 US EV penetration. I can't say this with a straight face, bro. I try so hard. It gets me every fucking time. They're still on the record again. They just published this research in August 2023, and they have doubled down, believing that just 25% of all new vehicles sold in the United States in 2030 will be electric. I just can't even. I just actually can't even. Is there like some magic rule when if IQs are high enough, they just start cancelling each other out? 25%. Do they not? I'm not even going to go here. You guys have heard the whole spiel. To the 12 new viewers on this video, sorry, I'll explain it another time. While hybrid preference went further up to 39% from 33% last year and 27% in 2021, in line with our ICE is nice thesis. I'll tell you what, I'm getting the feeling that in Moron Stanley world, everyone seems to live in a very strange bubble. 22% of their interns are looking to buy an electric vehicle. 39% are hybrid. Wow. In our view, investors are overestimating the rate of EV adoption in the US again. They published this, it's August 2023. They've just doubled down on 25% of all new vehicles being sold in the US being electric. And then they've reiterated, in our view, investors are overestimating the rate of EV adoption in the US. Kind of reminds me of that guy who famously said the internet was a fad, it was going nowhere. I just don't even. I really just don't. Finally, 48% of our interns think owning/leasing a car will be a necessity in 2030, up from 44% last year, corroborating our view that full autonomy may be farther out than investors realise. When it comes to Tesla, intern interest has somewhat stagnated, relinquishing its top spot to Mercedes and continuing its downward trajectory in brand preference. Does this represent an unmet desire for EVs from alternative brands? A degree of Tesla fatigue due to the brand's overwhelming share of EV sales and growing proportion of total auto sales? Or another indicator of future sentiment? I'll take that one, Morgan Stanley. What this represents is the fact that many of the summer interns working at Morgan Stanley, which itself is a gigantic status signal. Look, I went to Morgan Stanley. I interned at Morgan Stanley. Fresh out of Harvard, straight to Morgan Stanley, and I drive a Mercedes. Tesla is no longer as effective as a status symbol to signal, look, I'm better than you. I have a good income. Because the average selling price is coming down. The Model Y is now cheaper to buy than the average new vehicle in the United States. Clearly, if your reason for purchasing a vehicle is a signal to people that you're high status and or to compensate for your small dick or your short stature, it's no longer as effective if people know that they can buy the same vehicle you're driving for less than the new vehicle in the United States. Whereas a few years ago, everybody knew a Tesla, that's probably 6 figures. This person is probably making a good income and they're probably better than me because they're driving a car I could never afford. Look, they're better than me and I know it. Doesn't work like this anymore. So clearly, the preferences of the interns at Morgan Stanley are shifting because Tesla is no longer as effective at status signaling. This chart sums things up perfectly. What car brand, if any, is most desirable to you? 20%. Mercedes. Tesla wedged in the middle there at 14%. Part of that is actually I care about the environment signaling. So there's two things here. Otherwise, if Teslas were internal combustion engine, they'd probably be somewhere around Jeep. Then you've got Audi, then you've got BMW. I mean, look, you cannot get more stereotypical than this. Not including Tesla, the number 1, 2, and 3 brands most desirable to summer interns at Morgan Stanley, Mercedes, Audi, and BMW. If you were able to buy/lease a car in the next 5 years, what type of car would it most likely be? 39% said a hybrid. This is actually very important because one, hybrids are a dumb idea and they're going away very soon. People don't realize this. But if you delete hybrids, where does that 39% go? I think the majority of that 39% will top up the 22%, almost 1/4 considering an electric vehicle. To reframe this, only 23%, about 1/4 of people, Morgan Stanley summer interns, are considering an internal combustion engine vehicle as a purchase of a car if they buy one in the next 5 years. Only 23%. It's less than a quarter. Think about that. Also of note, nearly 90%, 88 to be exact, of the Morgan Stanley summer interns have a driver's license and 11% are planning to get one within the next 5 years. And finally, some info on ride-sharing apps. How frequently do you use ride-sharing apps? 1 to 4 times a month, about a third. 5 to 10 times a month, about a third. Makes sense. I mean, you see your friends a couple of times a week. You're probably jumping in an Uber or something equivalent 5 to 10 times a month. 13%, 11 to 20 times a month. 5% over 20. And around 20% don't typically use. Now think about this. Only 20% of Morgan Stanley summer interns don't typically use rideshare. That means 80% do. Big opportunity. If only someone could solve the robotaxi problem. So as we can see from the insights from the Morgan Stanley intern survey this year, over time, owning a Tesla will be less and less effective at adding a few inches to your micro penis, your short stature, or just signaling status. We're seeing a transition as Tesla moves towards the mainstream. Those who need to show everybody how successful they are will have to revert to one of the big three like Mercedes, Audi, or BMW. Meanwhile, Tesla's going to continue to print insane amounts of money and probably put all those companies out of business in the long run. I do understand people, I like a nice car. Fuck you, man. I'm not, my dick's not that short. Fuck you. Look, I get it. Maybe you don't have a small dick. Maybe you just actually like driving a luxury vehicle and or signaling status. But I mean, if we join the dots here, Morgan Stanley looks great on your resume. Look at the status. Look, I went to Harvard. I interned at Morgan Stanley. You get it right. I drive a BMW. I drive a Mercedes. The box that a Tesla previously ticked when it was impossible to buy a Tesla vehicle for less than 6 figures, obviously over time, it won't meet the same need. This is inevitable. The data point I found most compelling, however, is that approximately 1/4 of Morgan Stanley's interns are considering an electric vehicle as their next vehicle. And as I predicted in yesterday's video, about 2 years from now, mid-decade, 2025, I reckon that number in the United States will be about 50% of all people. A couple of years after that, about 80%, and it's game fucking over. Keep an eye on this number, the percentage of consumers who are considering an electric vehicle as their next purchase. One thing I did find rather astonishing was the number of Morgan Stanley interns considering a hybrid. They might have been drinking the Kool-Aid, aka can't get enough range in an electric vehicle. And more proof that the mainstream finance media and the mainstream media in general always has your best interests at heart, would never mislead, deceive, pick favourites, lie, tarnish, diminish, hide, obscure, or distort reality to paint a particular narrative. After all, there was no laptop, it's safe and effective, it's definitely for your protection, not our quarterly profits, and Elon bad. See ya. Athletic Greens AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. Athletic Greens AG1 is an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a fuck ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. It certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point and something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy. Wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1, is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it. You'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, snake oil salmon's sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. And remember, there is a 90-day money-back guarantee. There's nothing to lose here. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links in the pinned comment. See you over on Twitter and or Patreon, and don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.